He's ranked 5th in the United States. Last year is Devin Williams in the decathlon on the Track and Field News national rankings. So he's 10 seconds better than what Victor has ever done, and he's going to get himself an SEC title.
Williams got some valuable experience competing in the Olympic trials last summer. Did not make the team to Rio, but it is so important to have that experience. And he's finishing very strong here. He's going to end up about 8th in this 1,000, but well ahead of Lyndon Victor. And like his sister, he will pick up an SEC indoor title in the heptathlon. Yeah, he's real tight. Those hamstrings are tight. So a job well done and a spectacular hurdle race. Really broke it open for Devin Williams. 7.77 is a spectacular time. And then he had an outstanding pole vault of 15.9. And that was pretty much all she wrote. But he's paying the price.
The distance of 60 meters, 65.6 yards.
Leonard Miles Mills still the collegiate record holder from 18 years ago. Leonard Scott of Tennessee. 16 years ago, Christian Coleman and Kendall Williams right next to each other on the track in lanes 4 and 3, tied for the collegiate best.
From 40 meters on in this race, all these guys will be running around 26 miles per hour.
There's Coleman in the orange of Tennessee. He is the defending champion. Long hold. They both got excellent starts. Coleman in the orange takes over. It's Christian Coleman easily. And if that holds, it's just 1/100th of a second off of his collegiate leading time in 2017.
Really amazing. She is the collegiate record holder indoors and out, and she did not disappoint this time, winning by almost 5 feet. Did Raven Saunders of Ole Miss. 3/4 of an inch, that is the nation's leading mark, and she was leading coming into this competition. She was second last year in the shot put, and you see the abilities as she talks with her coach John Smith over her shoulder. Her husband, his wife, Connie Price Smith, is the head coach at Ole Miss.
Women's 60-meter dash, Hannah Cunliffe, who is tearing it up for Oregon. We'll be seeing her in a couple of weeks at the NCAA Championships in College Station. And in lane 4, this is Alea Hobbs.
Well, and this is one of about 8,000 LSU sprinters that are here, as we also get a look at the SEC leader, Javian Oliver. This is stacked. It's basically an LSU practice.
And Micaiah Briscoe is right next to her. She's already finished 3rd in the hurdles just 20 minutes ago. Hobbs out well at the start, as is Oliver. Oliver now taking over, and it is Hobbs that hangs on. Oliver did not shift gears the way she did in the prelims, and Hobbs takes it. Alea Hobbs, the LSU juniors, helping LSU score major points in this women's 60. Heiss of Arkansas, their great senior miler, very much in the mix here. There are 10 finalists. This is how they line up. Arkansas with 4 of the 10. This is a big, big event for the Razorbacks.
It's a huge field. There's a lot of white jerseys out there, but right there in the middle of your screen in the yellow is the All-American from Missouri, Carisha Schweitzer. She won the 3,000 last night. She's also a 2016 NCAA cross-country champion. Look for this race to be very, very tactical.
Carissa having a great season and ran a very smart 3,000 yesterday after qualifying in this event. So she's a busy young lady this weekend.
One of the things, Dwight, I think that is advantageous for these women in this mile is the fact that this is an oversized track. They get to spread out a little bit. They're not as boxed in as normally on those really tight corners as you have on a very small 200 banked track. I know some of the sprinters might not agree with me, but for this race, it gives them a little bit of breathing room.
So you can tell that the pace is not terribly aggressive because of how bunched up they are. 69 seconds for the first 400 meters, and that means runners have to run wide in order to have a place to run, and you usually get to see a bunch of feet and ankles and knees and stuff get tangled up if they don't start to spread this out pretty quickly.
And this kind of pace really plays into like a Morgan Schutz type of running. If the pace is slow for her, she will be a threat if this pace stays this slow, because she has got a fantastic kick.
That's Rhian Price of Mississippi State, who is almost always at the front of a mile race in the SEC. Her sister with the hat on, Fionn Price, the senior, is tucked in on the rail about halfway through this pack.
Maybe we need to give the weak sisters in the pole vault a little plea and say, hey, can one of you guys wear a hat and the other? Because since you both are identical, we need to be able to tell you apart.
At least these two Price sisters, they're just sisters. They're not twins. But Rhian enjoys controlling things from the front, and Carissa Schweitzer is perfectly happy for that to happen. Now Heiss takes an aggressive move to put herself into second place.
And Heiss having a great season. She transferred in from Oregon. She was an NCAA 5th place in the DMR. She knows how to run this. She's very tactical. She was second at the indoor mile at this meet last year.
2:24 at the half, so they had a 75-second second 400 meters, which is why they bunched up so much. And though they don't want to take the lead in earnest from Price, Heiss is in a position where she can do whatever she wants and making other runners run wide. There's Schutz getting up into the mix, just like she did in her prelim yesterday, but it's awfully bunched up there in the front.
And we talked about this last night in the prelims, that when you are running out there in lane 2, you are actually running entirely too long. You're actually not running a mile. You're running a lot longer than a mile. And if you don't find somewhere to tuck in or make a move to either go to the front or slow down and wait to make your move later, you're going to go wide like Carissa Schweitzer did just there in the yellow jersey.
And Schweitzer takes over after Heiss had picked up the pace, and at the bell, it is Schutz of LSU who also goes with Schweitzer. Remember, Schweitzer ran a mile prelim, won the 3,000, and is now attempting to steal the mile, but Morgan Schutz having none of it. Rhian Price trying to hang on there, and Heiss, after that push to get the lead, seeming to be dropped. She doesn't have an answer. 300 meters to go.
One of the things that impresses me about Carissa Schweitzer is her determination. Her look on her face last night when she won the 3,000, she sat there and she didn't panic. She was determined to run her kind of race, as you can see her right now with Morgan Schutz.
Schutz definitely has the better leg speed, the better half-mile time, but she is going to run out of real estate if she doesn't make a move soon. 150 meters to go. Schutz needs to make a move. You don't want to make it on the turn if you don't have to, but she may just have to. It's a two-woman race here in this mile final. Schweitzer of Missouri, Schutz of LSU. Schutz does not have an answer. Rhian Price trying to hang in there for third, but Schweitzer's going to be a double winner here. She won the 3,000 last night. She wins the mile here, and that's a couple of points for LSU they were probably counting on.
Emma, this was her third attempt down the runway, and she leaps out to 22.2 and a quarter. Two women now over 22 feet. But Shaquila Saunders was having none of it, and on her fifth attempt, she was second to Quanesha Burks last year. She leaps out to 22.4 and a half, so that puts her in first. So Quanesha Burks comes back in her fifth round now to try to regain the lead from Saunders of Florida. But watch this. Something happens in the air, and Burks can barely get out of the pit. She starts to grab her right arm, and she ended up staying late in the pit for quite some time. Watch it back on this replay. As she hitch kicks up into the air, something happens to her right arm, and we were not told what the injury was. She was eventually carried off. And Shaquila Saunders of Kentucky, 22.4 and a half, first time ever, three women over 22 feet. Both of these sisters, as they battle back and forth every single week, no pun intended, but this was Tori Weeks' first attempt at a new PR, 15 feet. She bobbles the bar, but she clears it. You'll see here she gets a little bit of a hug from her sister, but you'll see here on the replay when she leaves the ground, her body hits the bar on the way up. Now, no penalty for that. As long as the bar stays on, it is considered a make, and that was her first attempt. And then it was Lexi's turn. She was a 2016 Olympian last year, and this is her third attempt at 15 feet. Nails it, doesn't touch the bar, but because she made the height at a later attempt on her third, her sister Tori gets the SEC indoor title. This is the first time at any conference meet that there has.
Briscoe 8-13. This is how they line up. They're right next to each other in 4 and 5. Camacho Quinn out well with Briscoe. It's close right now. Camacho Quinn coming on, though. At the tape, it looks like Camacho Quinn, and maybe on the outside.
Why she is deservedly the SEC indoor champion.
On the men's side, MJ Erb pushed the pace, 4:22 for the first mile. And then Jack Bruce came up and took over. His superior 4-minute mile speed wound up with the SEC title.
Holloway with a so-so start. Zaza got out very well, but now Holloway asserts his dominance, and he was pushed more than we expected, but he wins.
It's all about the team here. We had 4 guys. Goals to go 1 through 4, so we just came up with the best strategy we thought we could to get 1 through 4, and I think it worked out pretty close. 1 through 3 and 6 is pretty good.
Right, and you're the defending champ, and you were okay with this plan.
Perfectly fine with it. Just that, like they said, we're all about the team, so it doesn't matter who wins for us. It's just all about getting the points, and we're trying to do the best we can to get a team title.
And can we get Tobin a mustache, a real mustache, by the time National starts?
We'd like to, but he's kind of superstitious. He had some bad luck last time he had a mustache, so we'll just, until he's more comfortable, we'll see.
All right, the pressure is on Engel and Manahan now. You go back and let him know. Ole Miss in waves in the mile.